And I want to give a major shout out to Mike Tag. Keep bringing the hype to the Cowboys Nation. We love and appreciate it. Now, can you dig it? Let's get it.
What's up, Cowboys Nation?
What is up? It's your boy Mike Tag here with Jimmy D. Hopefully, you guys had as good a weekend as I did because my U is in the Final Four in Houston, Texas. Wish it was somewhere else. I would have got tickets if it was in Florida, but it is what it is. But had a great weekend. Jimmy D, we missed you last week, but glad you are back.
Thank
What
you.
is happening today, my brother? How was your weekend?
No, it was really good. No complaints. Had a great weekend. Starting to get warmer up here, so we started opening the backyard a little bit, hoping for some springtime weather. I got to give props, man. Our draft expert Mikey last week, home run. Loved it.
You liked it, huh? Well, he
Absolutely.
was supposed to be on today, but sometimes a job gets in the way. I'm trying to get the
Ah,
priorities straight of where you need to be, but no, it was good. He's definitely got some stuff to talk about. He's been doing his research. He loves the draft. The draft's a young man's game now. It's like as
yeah.
you get a little older, it's like, you know what? I'm just gonna wait till it all happens. I'm not researching any of this stuff, and I know some of the guys. I'm sure you know some of the big name guys, and let's just see what happens. But I can say with my Cowboys, what they've done in free agency is kind of making this draft a little bit easier. It's not so pressing for me. And I know the big talk now is they're making that push for a running back. And I had Malik Rozier on from the U. We got a U day today,
Yeah.
of course. And we talked a lot about college, but we talked about the pros, and he wasn't real high on the Cowboys taking a running back early. He felt you can get that position filled later, which it's been proven. So I get it, but I think for the Joneses and them, if Robinson's hanging there at 26, man, it may be hard for them to pass up. But we'll see. We'll see what
Yeah.
happens.
Well, first of all, Mikey, you should have told him he was got that union job. He would have had off tonight. He would have
Yeah.
time to come into the show, into the cave,
Eh,
and drop some knowledge on us.
I know.
But
Well, we'll get it, but you know what? We got a lot. We got a lot to talk. It's a slow. I hate this month. You get into the dog days. They say you get into April, and you got the March Madness, which we're definitely going to talk about. You see, I'm dressed up as in the U gear, waiting for my Final Four stuff, and hoping that these Canes can take it to the other level of the game and bring home a championship. I've been waiting in this house, especially my kids, been waiting his whole life to say that his team's a champion, and it just hadn't happened yet. So hopefully we'll get that going, and it'll be a lot better. But I don't know. Did you watch any of the games this weekend?
A little bit. I think, we've talked. I'm not a big college person, but man, to see that UM and FAU are in it, that's crazy. An hour and a half apart. They're not really basketball schools, so that's exciting stuff.
Yeah, well, I could say FAU was like a dump when we lived down there. I don't
Yes.
even think they had anything. I don't know what if they even had sports, but they've come a long way. It's turned into a pretty good university. Miami, I'll educate you a little bit, Jimmy. The Miami was in the Elite Eight, last year. These guys, and like they came back, wanted to finish what they started, and the coach they got is an older guy, a lot of personality. I don't know if you remember when I think it was George Mason made that run, a while ago. He was the coach, and he's brought so much energy and just life. And you're starting to wonder if maybe Miami's a basketball school, the way the basketball team's performing and this football team ain't. But I'm telling you, it was a great game, against Texas. Always got to love to beat Texas, just like we did in the Cotton Bowl when we slapped them around back in the 90s with Russell Maryland. It's always good to beat Texas. But it was crazy because they were down. I mean, they got up and then they were down most of the game, and they were down double digits deep into the second half, and they
Yeah.
just went on a run and, just had a monster second half comeback and end up, winning the game. So it was nice. But I will say, I'm a fan of the U, but I got to be objective. I don't know if you saw the UConn. I mean, they are steamrolling. I mean, they beat Gonzaga. That was my pick to win the title. I don't know why they never win. They can never win. But Gonzaga, they dropped 28 on them, and it probably could have been worse, but they let the pedal off the gas, showed them a little mercy. So Miami's got to go against UConn. That's not going to be an easy task. So they got their hands full. And then you got FAU and San Diego State. FAU, I think, had 22 turnovers in their game, but still overcame, to win that one against Kansas State. And then you had San Diego State. I don't know if you watched that one. Very controversial
Yes.
foul call. So you're the basketball expert, not me. I'm just a fan. But if you saw that, maybe you saw it on the highlights, or if you
I did.
watched the game, I mean, God, how do you make that kind of call at that point in the game?
Nah, you don't do. I side with Charles Barkley on this one. He was all over that.
Yeah.
And you can't do that. And I know people say, well, if you can make that call during the game, it should be made whenever. No, you don't make that call at that point in the game. So I'm all about it. Charles Barkley was going off on that, and I
Yeah.
agree with him. That's stupid.
Yeah.
Almost.
It's just you hate to see it was such a good game, and it was you hate to see it get decided by a free throw at the end. And but hey, man, it is what it is.
That's right.
San Diego State. So you have no top seeds going in there. I think it's let me see if on my notes because I got to get notes on this stuff. It's UConn is the 4 seed. They're Miami, obviously the 5 seed. San Diego 5 seed. FAU a 9 seed. So 3 of these teams, except for UConn, of course, never. I don't think any of them's been to the Final Four. None of them have won a national title. So it's going to make for a fun weekend. And then into what's the game, Monday or I think Tuesday, maybe? I can't remember. But I don't know if the ratings are, I don't know if the televisions are going to like the markets that are in here, but I guess we'll see.
It's funny. In a minute, we'll get to when we talk about the NBA, but there was a similar topic brought up about ratings with that. That was kind of a controversial comment last week. But you know what? I think people love a story. So, and it's big market. I mean, Connecticut, there's a lot of that's a Northeast, big market area, if you will. Southeast Florida, big market area. So I don't know. California is kind of funny when it comes to sports and all that, but I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
But
it would be interesting if you get the South Florida, matchup. You get Miami FAU, in the finals. That would be a lot of fun. Be a lot of fun for us. Being from South Florida, obviously,
pretty cool.
a little homer in it, but I just need to see the U win a championship. I need to see one of my teams win something because it's been so damn long. But they have such a fun team to watch, and it was just they got they got the big guy number 15, and I mean he some people were texting me during the game. It's like, hey, is he on their football team? Is he a tight end? I mean, he's 278. I mean, he's big, strong, so he could end up being one of those guys like a Gates that was or Gonzalez that were playing basketball. Next thing you know, they end up in the NFL,
right.
setting the world on fire.
Mike, he's big and he's tall, but he's clumsy. No, they can beat him.
No, and another clutch Joe Jordan Miller, which I don't know if you know or not. He didn't miss one shot. He didn't miss one free throw. I mean, he was perfect. So in the big games, like they say, big players got to step up. So he was good. Wong, who was an ACC Player of the Year, he played. He was hot and cold, but he got going in the end. And it's just a fun team to watch. I mean, again, you're the basketball guy. I'm not really the basketball guy, but I love playoff. Anything playoffs.
Sure.
And March Madness to me is one of the most exciting tournaments because you can get in basketball, unlike football, you need just one guy, right? So you can get these schools like Iona or these small schools in New Jersey or whatever, and they can make a run. And I think that's fun when you see these small schools that no one ever heard of end up taking out some of these big schools and getting into the Sweet 16 to the 8 and all that. So it's a lot of fun.
It is cool, and I don't know. I just never got into it. Like I said, I obviously I seen some of it. My kids were really watching it, so yeah. But anyway, it's a great story, and at the end of the day, I think that's what'll draw ratings.
Yeah. No, we'll see. So we got some football, but we're already on some basketball. So I know you had a couple things on basketball. So let's talk about the NBA. They're getting close to playoff time, right?
Yeah, they are. So what you got in the West. It's funny because just like the East at the top, there's some room, but at the bottom in the West, it's a logjam between a lot of teams. So Devin Booker, from Phoenix, they were playing the Lakers last week, and there was 42 free throws for the Lakers and 26 for Phoenix.
Wow.
And most of those 26 were like later in the game when it was pretty much decided. And Devin Booker comes out, and in public and says, "Look, the league, the NBA obviously has an agenda. They want the Lakers in over anybody else, so they're going to make it happen for ratings purposes."
Yeah.
And I think it's a ballsy statement. He's probably going to get fined for it. But at the end of the day, we've said this over and over as fans. You wonder sometimes if there's certain teams that these leagues want in to make a playoff run, but it was hard to argue with that if you watch any part of the game or the highlights.
Well, you could. I don't know how. I was not a basketball junkie, but I was into basketball. Into the '90s and the 2000s, and I'm a huge Chris Webber fan. So wherever he was, I followed. So I can go back to the Sacramento Kings. I don't know if you
Yeah.
remember that game against the Lakers, where it was Game 6. The Kings, all they had to do was win, and I think the whole team got fouled out, or there were so many free throws, so many bad calls. It was so evident that the league did not want the Sacramento Kings in the finals. They wanted the Lakers, and I mean, that's the thing with basketball. It's like we were talking about those fouls, and if you don't watch it enough, and I'm not a huge basketball fan, so I don't have the eyes and, oh yeah, that was a foul. I mean, some of it's like, come on, man. I mean, like, a little contact, or they didn't touch him, or whatever it was. You can definitely skew the game in basketball. The referees can definitely impact it heavily and make it not obvious. You know what I mean? Where
Yeah.
football, it can be pretty blatant, some of the calls. Where basketball, it can be one of those ticky-tack things and that. And that's the part that always frustrates me, as to be all in on basketball.
And that's the thing with the NFL. You could have well, let's look at the Super Bowl. You could have a defensive holding or pass interference call that changes everything. But in like you said, in the NBA, it's much more subjective. The rule, you can see one guy taking 3 steps, not a travel, and the next game, the guy takes 3 steps and they're calling it. You never know what you're going to get. Or is it a charging call? Is it a blocking call? It is very inconsistent. Like you said, that's big because they can make those calls and it's not obvious.
Yeah.
So, but I'm glad like you had an athlete come out and say it because he's right. I agree with him.
No,
Booker was
well,
spot on.
we all know it's all about it. I mean, at the end of the day, it's all about the money. And the NBA wants LeBron. They want the Lakers. They want,
Yeah.
they want the light in there. They want to make sure that they get the attention that they deserve. So, it is what it is, and just got to deal with it, right?
Well, and you know what? Before I get to the next NBA topic, I can't really talk much because my Knicks went down to Florida and got swept. And your brother was pleasant enough to remind me about that on social media last night.
You
We
tell me
lost.
they lost to the Magic?
We lost to the woeful Orlando Magic. Yeah, but I know there's a lot of Dallas fans out here that watch, and just look at. I'm sorry.
So have they gotten better? So how?
No.
Because I don't follow. So they're still the trade has not improved them in any way.
They are 7-12 since the trade. They're outside looking in right now. And now it's kind of coming out in public that, Luka and Kyrie Irving are chirping a little bit in public where that there's obviously something's going on in the locker room. So I knew that would happen. He's a headache. He's a cancer, Kyrie Irving. So and it really stings because, Dallas in the West, they're no threat to me. So, hey, and I like Luka, but bad move, man.
Yeah, that's
Bad move.
unfortunate. I mean, it's his. And then I saw Cuban was out. I guess he must have been bitching about maybe the officiating or something. But then he was making headlines. I just saw on social media and stuff. So
yeah.
it's too bad because they made a little bit of a run in the playoffs last year, and so
They
now
Yes.
you wonder. You got that talent with Luca. I mean, how long can you.
Yeah, I knew it. And maybe it was damaged. Maybe with him it was damage control, trying to like maybe pull the spotlight this way and get it off of the nonsense in the locker room. You never know.
Yeah.
But
no.
Dallas Stars hockey team, they're playing really well. So as far as Dallas fans go, we know obviously there's a Cowboys driven, the Tag Nation broadcast network, Cowboys Cave broadcast network. It's Dallas driven, so it's cool. Like I'm looking forward to my Knicks and my Rangers being in the playoffs. It's cool when you have both going at the same time. That's why, as much as football is fun, I know that's your biggest time of the year. I like it right now because you do got a little football at the free agency. Then you got NBA playoffs coming up, NHL playoffs coming up. Baseball starts this Thursday, Yankees and Giants, and I think my man Volpe made the opener roster, which is good.
That's
So
what I think I saw. I was saying, I
yeah,
saw my brother post something, so that was cool.
yeah,
And yeah, I mean, I'll watch the playoffs because I love watching any sport that's a playoff. I enjoy watching. It's just maybe because the seasons are long and it just that you don't have that feel of importance. Like when you're watching a
yeah,
college game, you're watching a pro game. Every game is so important. Where now it's like basketball. I mean, how many teams go in that tournament to, you got the last, what, 4 teams or something. So
yeah.
almost every team has a shot to make the playoffs or whatever it is. So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. So what other NBA topics do you got to talk about? Anything else?
No, that's really about it. I just thought that was interesting with that, and I knew with the Mavericks, I saw that coming, and it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. I mean,
Yeah.
no, there's not much going on, and we'll see. You got, like you said, you got the play-ins. You got the last 7 to 10 who makes it into those. The season ended right now. My Knicks play the Cavaliers. That'll be a tough matchup, but like I said, we're playing well. I can't complain. Besides getting toasted down in Florida.
No, no, no. That's all right. But like I said, so it's their long season. So in
Yeah,
football, and then of course I got to jump in Uncle Cheese because I know he's got something to say being from South Florida. But Lamar Jackson come out. He wants to trade. And he's got himself in a bad spot because a lot of the quarterback positions have been filled unless you're going to take a rookie. So now there's going to be a lot more pressure. And I don't know. He's trying to do everything on his own, and this is probably why you need an agent. This is probably why you pay for
yeah.
someone to handle your media. This is probably why you have someone to handle this kind of stuff. But he's going to be in a bad spot because I don't know if he can go back to the Ravens. I guess you could, but I don't know. Um, he's been hurt the last couple of years, questionably hurt in the playoffs, where maybe he could have played, maybe he couldn't have. So I don't know how that is in the locker room. I don't know how that carries over to the other teams. Excuse me. So I don't know what's going to happen with him. He's in a
Uh,
predicament.
he sh- if he was smart, he would have taken the money and run last year, right? So now what? He gets hurt, and again, people are saying, it's a monopoly and all this crap. No, the guy's hurt 2 years in a row. Who's going to invest that kind of money in a guy who's now proven to be injury prone? He should have taken the money last year, and
It was
now that thing's
130 guaranteed, so they have to be
right,
invested in him, right?
right. I mean, come on, and
That's a
and
lot
I
of
like
money.
how Harbaugh says, "Oh, he's my starter. I love to have him." Then this whole thing comes out. I mean,
But
it's crazy.
yes, I don't. But what do they do? I mean, I don't know where he's going to go. I think the thing is the Ravens have proven that they can win without him.
Yeah.
Are they a better team with him? Of course they are. But maybe they get pieces around him, and you just don't know what'll happen. So that's going to be the interesting thing. And then, of course, in New York, just get your opinion. Being in the city is Aaron Rodgers. So nothing's happened yet. I don't know what they're waiting on. I know it's the Packers are looking for certain draft capital in exchange. It looks like OBJ is kind of on that radar for the Jets
Yeah.
too. So maybe they're trying to get one deal and then the other. But have you heard much in New York as far as when this thing's finally going to take place? Seems like it's got to happen. I don't know what else they're going to do. Either
There's
team.
like it's like you said, with Lamar, there's no going back. I mean,
No.
he has to come here, but I think that with all the shenanigans and all that, we talked a couple of weeks ago about him with the media circus here. He hasn't had to deal with that in Green Bay. It's going to be a completely different ball game here, and as the longer this drags out, let's say that things aren't going the way they should for him in New York this upcoming
Yeah.
season, he's going to get his ass handed to him by this media, and that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I think at the end of the day, he's going to end up here, but the mere fact that it dragged on and on and on, and then heard about OBJ, heard about Zeke. I think you said the Zeke thing is out, but I heard
Yeah, I
about it
think
as
the Zeke
really,
thing's out, and I mean, to me, it seems like the best fit for him, if it's not with the Cowboys, is going to be the Bucks or the Chargers, maybe the
yeah,
Bengals. Because you got mix. I mean, he's going to be a complimentary type back. He's not a lead horse, but I don't think you can have any.
no,
You can't have one running back. I mean, you got to have two or three. Even we talked
yeah,
about last week. You got to have maybe three running backs because the season's so long. The punishment that they take.
yeah,
I think those are probably, if I were to bet, those would be the ideal landing spots. But then Jerry Jones comes out and says, "Hey, maybe Zeke, maybe Zeke comes back, and your boy has a policy of making sure if you're not on the Cowboys, you got to get out of the cave temporarily. Break my heart because Zeke is well represented in the cave, but if he signs with another team, I got to start figuring out one. I got to put the stuff in storage. And I got to fill all the areas that he's taken. So I need him to come back to Dallas to make my life a little easier.
Save you a lot of work and a lot of headache and a lot of confusion. So I
Yeah,
think that would work. And like you said, it is we've talked about this plenty of time. It's a 2 running back league. I don't care if they're both healthy with
yeah.
the beating these guys take.
No,
And like we said, short shelf life, they should take all the money they can get.
no, they
But
got.
you need 2 running backs in this league no matter what.
Yeah, no, at minimum, at minimum.
Yeah.
And then they just issued out the numbers. So, Stephon Gilmore took 21. So you can either say it's Zeke's number, Prime's number, Julius Jones, if you want to say his number, you
Yeah.
know,
So
Michael Jenkins, whoever, all these guys
Hey,
were 21, but it's got to be Prime or Zeke at least if you're going to talk about 21.
hey, talking about the Cowboys, what about Julio Jones?
I jotted that down. They were betting favorite to get Julio Jones. I don't know why. I don't know where. Hey, I guess you take a receiver, if you can get a veteran receiver. I don't see the value. I don't see the reason unless they're really,
Right.
really concerned about Gallup being able to come back to form in his second year from that surgery, which is usually the year that they're good. Unless there's a lot of concern there, I don't know why you make that move. What I'd like to see him do is get some defensive tackles in here and beef up that line. I know, Calais Campbell from the U. There's a little chatter about him being on that defensive line. Now he's an older guy, but he's again championship experience, and he's from the
Yes.
U, so that means even more. But they got to get they brought in Ronald Jones, who has been to 2 Super Bowls, right, with the Chiefs and the Bucks, won 2 Super Bowls. Gilmore's won a Super Bowl, so Cooks has been to the Super Bowl. So they the free agents that they brought in are things that you asked for. Hey, give me some guys that been there, done that, because I think maybe that's what this team's missing. Because it seems like when they get in the playoffs and things start to go a little south, they get a little rattled. Maybe, I don't know. So at this point, you try anything to get us over.
Right. But you get back to Julio. He's been to Tennessee. He's been down to Tampa Bay. Now Dallas. The funny part is I'm surprised because we picked up Mac Hollins from the Raiders. He's a number 3, number 4 receiver.
Yeah.
In my opinion, if you're going to pick him up, I would have taken Julio back at a bargain basement price just to have a guy who's loved in Atlanta.
Yeah.
He's still got some value. Granted, he's been to a Super Bowl. Obviously, we don't want to talk about that, or I don't want to talk about that. But so it's not a bad move to have him. But I think Atlanta will be the right, landing spot for him. But behind London and Pitts.
No, he mentoring, London,
Yeah.
who's turned, he's going to be a great receiver. He had a nice year, and the sky's the limit for him, and kind of bring a calm to that offense. And what are they doing with quarterback? Right, they got the young kid, or did they sign anyone? I can't remember.
Well, they have Desmond Ritter, and they signed Henneke from Washington
That's right.
as a backup.
As a backup,
Yes.
you're hoping Ritter is your guy.
Yes.
Otherwise, your season's it's going to be just one of those years. So
Yeah.
you're hoping you get the ceiling with him, but
Well,
yeah.
we've
So it's a quiet. This is kind of the calm before the storm. So once the draft thing's going, and we'll get some draft content going. Hopefully next week we get the get him off and get things rolling. Well, the draft thing is next month end of the April is the draft.
Yeah.
So, and then you got OTA, you got all this. So now the fun will be starting. But more importantly, talking about fun, Jimmy D. We got to talk about Uncle Cheech. I'm wearing the U. We know he's a longtime South Florida resident, season ticket holder, all that other good stuff. So I know he's got to be pumped up. I don't know what he's up to. What's up, Uncle Cheech?
Hey, how you doing, guys?
Good.
Cheech, what's going on?
Pick some of this stuff here. Oh, I'm trying to find things anyway.
All right.
Go ahead. What do you got the Hot Rod shirt on?
Hot Rod.
I told you I got the shirt. Greatest entertainer in professional wrestling.
Oh, absolutely.
Great.
Nothing wrong with that.
Hey, Uncle Cheech, can I ask you something quick about professional wrestling and something that's right up your alley, which is wagering? Have you heard, and this is for real, this ain't a joke, both the WWE and AEW, which are obviously the 2 biggest, wrestling promotions in the world right now, are talking about having actual legitimate wagering on like DraftKings and stuff.
You can't do
I swear to God, I swear they're talking about it and it's a thing. And I said the same thing. How can you have? So I want to get Uncle Cheech's thought, and it's for real. I'm not making this up.
You won't see me betting on any professional wrestling. Not unless I get real insider information on who's going to take the fall. Entertaining, but not worth gambling on.
Well, what's entertaining is that Hot Rod shirt. We're bringing shades of Roddy Piper, Piper's Pit. You know, we all go back to that time, some good times in wrestling. So it looks like you're getting to that spirit with these Canes making that run. How you feeling about what you saw this weekend?
Yeah, I can't believe it. Tell you, I'm really surprised. We're a two-sport school now. Even the girls, got to give them credit. They made a good showing.
Yeah, Elite Eight. Nothing wrong with
Men
that.
got a good team. You know, I'll tell you. Some of these handicappers, I don't know what the hell they're talking about. Nobody ever gave them a chance.
Well, that was the one thing I saw in, and I don't know if you want to respond to anything, but they had a 3% chance beginning of the season. They had Miami. Getting a national championship, winning a national championship. They went to the Elite Eight last year. I mean, they got all their guys back. I mean, you can't. I'm not surprised. I'm not shocked that they're here. I'm excited, and I think it's a great thing as a Miami fan and as a sports fan to see him there. But you know, to your point, a lot of these people didn't give much chance or respect.
I'll tell you what. I called up CBS, a couple of their handicappers.
Yeah.
And I said, you haven't picked them yet. They beat you 3 times. You know what he told me?
What'd he say?
He said, Uncle Cheech. He said, you're washed up.
Oh,
wow.
He told me I was washed up. He said, the game passed me by. I said, look, you young punk. I said, do you know who I am? Do you know who I am? I'm Uncle Cheech. I was making my bones while you were going out with cheerleaders. I was going to send my friend Salvador up to New York. He's in Jersey. Remember the one with the boxer?
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Straighten him out a little bit.
They don't even. Do they understand that like DraftKings and all these things got started because of you? You brought this thing to the level. You brought it to the forefront, and they're going to disrespect you. That's typical CBS.
Yeah,
Going to disrespect a legend
Absolutely.
of his
Yeah, he
field.
knew who I was.
Oh, of course.
You know,
He washed up. I said,
we always talk about the NFL veterans paving the.
I forgot more than you'll ever know. I told him.
We always talk about the NFL veterans paving the way. That's what Uncle Cheech did for this, this money-making scheme for DraftKings and the government. Uncle Cheech paved the way.
Of course. Finally get a little respect.
But I'll tell you what, I'm really, really happy. I'm hoping we have South Florida championship. Highly possible.
Now, you watch all the games? Should I say you watched all the games?
I watched the Miami games. I didn't.
You didn't watch have you watched the UConn? Did you watch them play?
Well, I heard UConn is probably on paper the best team out there.
Yeah, right now is as a great late Burgess Meredith said, they're a wrecking machine. They've destroyed almost every team they've played. So that's why I'm a little nervous, but I think Miami, if they they fight. I mean, they fight to the end.
A commentator, so-called expert today on ESPN, he said, "What team should they fear?" UConn, because he was saying the same thing you are, and he said Miami. So they put up a bunch of points.
It's going to be. They've got to play. They've got to play like they did in the second half, right? And in the Indiana game before that whole game. If they could play that style, I think they've got a great shot. They just can't. I don't think they can't go toe to toe with them, right? They got to make sure that they don't fall too far behind and make some missed shots. And they got to play ahead. So I'm hoping keep it tight. They've been under the pressure. They've proven that they can overcome that. But keep it tight, and let's see how UConn can respond in a tight game. They've had their blowouts. Let's see how tournament time how it goes. So we'll see.
See how they respond when they're pushed.
Yes.
I mean, we know when we're pushed, we came back twice.
Yes.
Well,
No.
but then it gets back to you got to hope that the refs don't try to finagle anything.
Yeah, you can't go with these refs.
Don't go with that ref shit.
I don't want to see no $100 bills flying out of any of these referees'
All right,
pockets.
that idiot. I mean, I went on that CBS, and everybody's taking Texas, giving 4 against Miami. So I had to call him. I said, "What's the matter with you people?
No.
You haven't picked him yet. They won 3 in a row."
You made some money off it, though, didn't you?
Yeah.
That's what it's about.
That's right.
That's what it's about.
So tell me I'm washed up, that young punk.
Well, I got to ask you if we had another Kane on Malik Rozier on the show, talking about some Canes and the team. So we got a little time with it. This is a you themed segment. What's your thoughts? He had his thoughts on this year's Canes. Cristobal being the right guy, heading the right direction. He thinks the offense, kind of getting things shaken up with Van Dyke is gonna be a good thing for him with the coordinator and everything going on. So, you're disappointed as I was, I'm sure, last season. Do you have some optimism, or are you just kind of guarded? You're just gonna wait and see what happens?
I do. This guy's the new coordinator's, aerial attack.
Yeah.
And that quarterback, let's face it, he can go deep. Throws a good deep ball. Got some pretty good receivers. If we can run the ball effectively, and he's bringing in piece by piece. I'm not going to get all over the guy after the first year. I told you what happened with Butch.
I know. Well, we saw it. We saw what happened.
Like
I'm trying to get Butch Davis. Trying to get Butch Davis on the show because I want to let him know what happened, and I might have to bring you on to issue him a formal apology.
I will apologize. I will apologize. No doubt about that.
Yeah, so I'm hunting him down. I got to find him because that was the time, and Dennis Erickson talked about it. Regret of leaving Miami, and I really think that Butch Davis, he's got to have a lot of regret going up to Cleveland. And I mean, he would have been the Nick Saban of that era. I mean, you're talking probably 3, 4, 5 national championships.
If he would have stayed, they would have never even heard of Nick Saban.
Yeah. Because he had that thing rolling. He had that thing rolling.
Probably would have won 10 championships last 20 years.
Yeah. And Jimmy and I were down at the OB when Butch, at the lowest point. I mean, he used to be able to sleep. You take a nap on the bleachers. It was so empty.
Was it sleeping or passing out? I don't really remember.
However you want to look at it, but no, it was definitely it was a great interview with Malik. We got into a lot of different subjects. Got a little educational system, NIL, and this and that. So he was a great guest and a lot of fun. And he said, if you're down at the U, if A&M game is what we're thinking, we might have to meet up and have some fun. So
big shot.
Yeah, you try. But no. So all right, Uncle Cheech, is there anything else that you got going on? Anything exciting? Or you getting ready for this game? Be Saturday night. I'll be down in South Florida, so I'm gonna be watching the game locally with my peeps down there. But you got anything else going on?
Oh no, I'm ready.
No.
I was reading the other day. Terrible.
What?
I was having a bad day. But he calls me up. She said, "Do you think we could go in the public pool today?" We got where I live, we got a gated community, 4 or 5 pools, heated pools. I got the hot tubs in my house. So I said, yeah. Okay. I said, if you make me a nice big pan of eggplant. So anyway, we go over there, and she got a little string bikini on. She's 4'11", 200 pounds, looking good in the bikini.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Irving comes up to me. Irving, play one of my shuffleboard partners. Play $1 a game, shuffleboard. Comes up to me and says, "Hey, Cheech, that's a nice ass." I said, "Don't talk that way about my tomato."
No, not the lady.
Oh, God.
All right, Uncle Cheech.
Nice lady.
I'll see you.
All right,
Dig
we'll
it.
see you next week.
Uncle
We're gonna have
Cheese
some
got
draft
you.
coverage next week, so get ready. Make sure you're studying up. I want to see what you got to say. We'll be matching you up with our Mel Kiper of the show and see how you guys see how you compare. So, all right,
All
we'll see
right,
you next
guys.
week. All right, take care.
Thank you. Grazie.
Bye.
A presto.
Oh man, Uncle Cheech, I don't know what to do with him.
No, I love it though. His life. I mean, he lives a life of Riley. I love it.
No, he
know?
does. He does. And no, like I say, it's just the Miami thing's got us all pumped up. You
I
know, we're
bet.
excited.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a lot of fun. Got to go down to South Florida, so I'll be watching the game down there. Got to find a spot to watch it. Maybe hit old Brew's room or
Yeah.
Duffy's, or we'll find somewhere to watch it.
I'll tell you what's fun down there that I bet last time we were down there, last few times we were down, boat campers.
Yeah, that's a little far from where I'm at. Where
Oh,
I'm
okay.
staying anyway. I
All
want to
right.
be driving home. It's not a place you want to drive home, so I definitely have to get an Uber. So
Well, especially, well, Brews Room, old school. I would definitely hit that up.
yeah,
I wish I was there with you.
what?
I wish I was there with you.
I know. Still have the best wings. So, but yeah. So anyway, I don't really have a whole lot else to talk about. Is there anything else that we missed, Jimmy, that you wanna hit on?
No, I think we're good, man. No,
All right.
good stuff.
All right. Well, it's a slow Monday. It's a quiet Monday, but the good thing is we got the U. We're handling that business. Football, the draft will be getting a little bit closer. We got a lot of stuff going on with the channel, so I do appreciate. We've gained so many subscribers. We've got so much new content. Obviously, Kelly Canine and I on Thursday. That's primarily just cowboy kind of stuff. Get your fix in. We drop special shows every now and then. Once a season gets going, you're going to see a lot more focus with football, a lot more focus with all that kind of stuff. But we are in the dog days. But like Jimmy D said, you got basketball playoffs coming up, hockey playoffs coming up, baseball starting up. We got the Final Four. We got that this weekend. So we're definitely got some stuff to talk about on Monday. Either tears of joy or tears of sorrow. We'll figure it out. But it's going to be a good time. So until then, make sure you guys hit that like, hit the subscribe, share, do all your good stuff, spread the word, because we got a lot of great things going on in this channel, and we want to make sure you guys get it all. So again, we appreciate it. Jimmy, you have a good week, good weekend, and we will catch you on the flip side. You guys take care. Peace out.
The Eagles get ready, because you might not like it, but you will learn to love it, because we are the best thing going today. Now can you dig it?